What's up, everybody? Welcome to the number 3 podcast. I unfortunately I listen to a lot of radio. I'm talking about old school radio. Get in your car, turn on 1077, 1055, etc. I listen to a lot of radio for music, all genres. I listen to I actually watch cable TV. Yeah, I'm old school. I've told you that before. I don't apologize for it. Um, there's nothing really up to date entertainment wise that I'm into. I'm into the old school stuff. Unfortunately, if I'm in the mood for some R&B, if I'm in the mood for some old school Keith Sweat, Levert, Nita Baker, that type of thing, in my area, that you can always get clarity as far as signals. You know, you never get any static or lost signals when you listen to these stations. 1077 out of Birmingham, 98.7 out of Birmingham as well. Now, we can, in my area, we can reach, I think it's 1057 out of Atlanta, or maybe 1057 out of Montgomery. I can get both of them. The one out of Montgomery, the one out of Atlanta. Not very clear, but I can get them. But this is the problem. And this is what it irks me with these stations, because you have decent DJs. I've spoken about a couple over the past 2 or 3 months. But this is my problem. With 1077 out of Birmingham, you have a morning show, which is Steve Harvey. You have an evening show, which is D.L. Hughley. The station out of Atlanta, if I'm not mistaken, I know the morning show is The Breakfast Club. Station out of Montgomery, the morning show is Breakfast Club. Not sure what goes on in the afternoon on either one of those stations. But this is my point. I kind of see why black folks in these areas, Atlanta, Montgomery, Birmingham, are the way they are. Because I listened to, back when my father-in-law passed away and I had to go back and forth to Troy, Alabama. And, I had it on I want to say it's 107 something out of Montgomery. I had to listen to a lot of the Breakfast Club stuff. And these are black leftists, these are black racists. And if they wasn't interviewing an artist or something like that, they was just spewing out political garbage. But it is what it is. Nobody, not too many stations that I can actually get in Alabama carries the Breakfast Club, so I don't care about the Breakfast Club. But I see why in Montgomery and Atlanta and other cities, black folks hear this garbage. I see why they are the way they are. The ones I get here in Birmingham or in Alabama, I've already told you about the Ricky Smiley thing. Now, he mostly have like comedy stuff on his shows. If it's not music, it's more like comedy stuff. But he does have guests who comes on like Roland Martin and these pieces of shit and spew political garbage. And mainly the reason I'm going with this topic today, because I went to McDonald's late last night with my youngest daughter and my wife, and she can't stand D.L. Hughley, but they played an excerpt of D.L. Hughley. I get up, drive over the mountain this morning, and of course, they got Steve Harvey on there. And Steve Harvey is a well-respected comedian, but he's a piece of shit. Because I heard him basically talking political stuff when it comes to voting rights, and he said out of his mouth that they're taking, we're talking about the conservatives taking the voting rights away from black folks. You know what? Your opinion is your opinion, but that's not factually true. Nothing he said was factual. He has this huge, mega voice with this radio show spewing lies. Now listen, I don't subscribe to his politics. As soon as he came on telling them lies, I turned. I don't respect him as a man. I never liked him as a comedian. I probably laughed at one or two things he did with his TV show and the Kings of Comedy and stuff like that. I never put him in my top 10 favorite comedians of all time. It was one point I did love D.L. Hughley. I didn't have him in my top 10 either, but I thought he was funny. I don't know what it is with these guys. All three of these guys that I just named, Ricky Smiley, D.L. Hughley, Steve Harvey, they're all comedians. They're all actors and entertainers. And a lot of people say they ain't number paid puppets, and that's true. That's true. They're paid puppets. But why? Steve Harvey probably got more money than any of these cats, because he had his own TV show. He did a few other things with the King of Comedy, traveling on the comedy circuit. I think I said he had the Steve Harvey show. He did the game show. Can't now remember the name of it. He did the game show. The hell, they got his own version of the game show, and he still goes out and spews this garbage. I don't know if these people really and truly believe the garbage comes out of their mouth, or they just have to stay. They just have to be just stay on code. I don't know, but it's very concerning to me, because they reach millions and millions and millions of people. Hell, I mentioned just Birmingham, but dude, it reaches worldwide, not just here in Birmingham. It goes worldwide. This garbage, these lies. Now, I will say this, to each his own, because I listen to a lot of talk radio as well, and talk radio is probably 95% leaning conservative. And a lot of that stuff is not all true. And I wouldn't blame somebody if they heard a lie, call it out. Don't matter who said it. Hell, there's so many people in my circle right now that's pissed off at our president. And I ain't pissed off, but I'm kind of mad too, because for the last 3 months, I've been hearing they want to make a deal. They want to make a deal. They want to make a deal. Talking about Iran. And the majority of that's true, because the administration, if I'm not mistaken, has been having correspondence with the, I guess you could say, like the president or whatever the equivalent is over there. But it's not, they are not running that country. It's the Ayatollahs and the RIGC. So if the equivalent of the president over say, hey, yeah, we're willing to scratch some out on paper, we're ready to make a deal. The Ayatollahs and the RIGC, no, they're gonna bomb ships and shoot off rockets. I don't want to get too far off par, but I can understand if somebody hear a lie from a conservative commentator on talk radio or wherever and call them out. But dude, with these folks, with these Steve Harveys and these D.L. Hughley, for the past 3 months, and I know y'all, I hope y'all seen a couple of shows or listened to Brandon Tatum or some of these other good cats, has, jumped on the bandwagon of I don't know how to explain it. I'm not that intelligent. But you done took a side, and your side is wrong, but you keep on and keep on and keep on spreading lies. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. All right, sorry about that. Yeah. They just keep on spreading lies. Now, I'm not finna get off into the Nolan Wells thing. We've talked about that enough. There's nothing there. We've talked about the Wisconsin deal. There's nothing there. We've talked about the other thing in Mississippi. There's nothing there. These folks are going to get put in their place, Talking about your D.L. Hughley's, your Ben Crumps, and all these folks, they're going to get put in their place. Right now, I want to pretty much concentrate on the ability of these black leftists to use the bully pulpit to tell lies. And I don't know if the FCC can regulate lies like that coming from the radio, because in a lot of people's mind, nobody listens to radio anymore, and that may be true. I might be one of the only few dinosaurs out there that still listen to radio. I know they're trying to get rid of AM, period. Wipe it out, period. Hell, pretty soon I'll be trying to get rid of cable TV, and I will be a damn dinosaur somewhere, you know. But yeah, man, I don't get it. Steve Harvey, D.L. Hughley, you know, the Breakfast Club people. I'm not an avid listener of the Breakfast Club. When my father-in-law passed away, and I told you I drove down there back and forth, it had some great interviews. You know, New Edition, and some other cats that I used to love back in the day. Back in the day, they had these interviews with these people. I'm like, this is all right. But then you cut away from the music, you cut away from the interviews, and what do you get? Trump this, Trump that. Trump this, Trump that. And you can, and these folks go to Charlemagne, look him dead in the eye, and tell him the truth, and it just don't resonate. Or whoever's paying him, whoever's putting that battery in his back, won't allow that to resonate. I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna get up out of here. One of probably the biggest podcaster on the face of the earth, Joe Rogan, is a leftist. He's a communist, socialist leftist, because he's a Bernie bro. But when he hears something from a conservative, and he knows it's factually true, he thinks about it. Now to my knowledge, he ain't got off his Bernie train, but during the election, he heard a lot of stuff, man. And in my opinion, he was 1/4 of the reason Trump got reelected. I tell you, Elon Musk, from what he done, some other great people, you know, like your Vince Ellisons and that whole bunch, and Joe Rogan. And it was 2 or 3 more podcasters, the Black Family, which is great, that they had a big deal to do with it. But Joe Rogan, who is not a conservative, had a big influence. And I can put him in the same category as your Charlemagne's and your Steve Harvey's and your your D.L. Hughley's. But one thing is different, other than the color, the skin tone. He's like, damn, this is right. And I gotta accept it, and I gotta go with that. I love my Bernie bro, but this is fact. These are facts these conservatives are talking about. And that's the big difference. If you ever listen to Pastor Manning out of New York, he don't hold back when it comes to black folks. Black folks are the most stupid, ignorant race on the face of this planet as a collective. You got some good, intelligent black folks out there, but as a collective, black folks are dumb. Black folks are ignorant. I'm black. I love my blackness. But more importantly, I love my Christianity. It overrides any skin tone I got. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. I appreciate you. I love you. In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, we keep him first. And I'll see you next time.